So I recently got contacted by my good friend Naeem, one of the founders of Archetype, an award-winning creative agency with specialism in Arabic design and localization. Some of their clients include Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and Google. So Naeem said,
"Hey Omar, how you doing? I'm wondering whether you can help me. I want to create a simple page where I can allow people that follow my agency to download an ebook. So maybe some kind of click funnel thing where after they sign up, I can give them access to a downloadable ebook. It will be free, but I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this, cost effective, that I can turn around quickly. Yeah, let me know."
So after hearing this message, I replied by saying,
"Yeah, man, that's really simple. All you got to do is knock out a landing page with Framer's pre-made layouts and use one of their form components to capture email and push them to download your ebook in a PDF format after the sign up."
Sounds simple enough, right? All right, fine. For you curious newbies out there, entrepreneurs, marketers, whoever you may be, if you're transitioning to Framer because you want to create beautiful sites fast, this one is for you. I'm going to show you how to design a killer ebook funnel in Framer within 30 minutes tops. Best part is that you don't need any design skills with this method I'm about to show you. Just before we get into it, if you're new to this channel, I'm Omar Farouk, designer turned startup founder. And in this channel, I share all of my learnings around building my companies and trying my best to achieve breakthrough growth. So if you're interested in all of this, then go ahead and click subscribe to stay notified. Now let's jump into Framer. All right, so as you guys can see, we're inside of our new Framer project and we're gonna go ahead and knock out our ebook landing page for our funnel right away. I'm gonna be doing this by using Framer's pre-made layouts found under the insert menu under basics. You've got all these sections ready to go out of the box. And the cool thing about this workflow is that you don't have to be an advanced Framer user or a professional designer by any means. Anyone can use this workflow to knock out landing pages and websites super fast. So let's get straight into it. Now, the first thing I like to do when I fire up any Framer project is select the default desktop that it comes with and change the default 1200 pixels width to 1440 pixels wide. I find this is a common standard, of course, but a better width to work on because not only is it more in line with most medium-sized laptops, but also it gives you a little bit more real estate to work in. So it's really helpful. Of course, that's my preference. Now from here, we'll go ahead and add our various breakpoints. We'll go and zoom into the top right corner of our canvas. We'll click the plus icon and add our tablet size, and again for the phone size. And there you go. You've got all of your screen sizes laid out on a single canvas. And that's what's powerful about Framer. As you're designing your landing page on your desktop, you're automatically optimizing the user experience for all the various devices, so that you're creating a more responsive campaign that converts better, right? And essentially your campaign is just going to be more effective this way. So with that said, let's go ahead and start adding our layouts for our ebook landing page. So head over to our insert menu, click the insert menu, go to sections. Now you can also choose these pre-made pages with its own sections out of the box. However, there's less flexibility by using this because it already has its own structure. Whereas if you start with sections, you can create your own layout and structure how you prefer. And that's more convenient for, just better customization, right? So from here, we'll go ahead and add a hero section. Now you've got these hero sections with title and call to action. I'd like to use a hero section with an image to showcase the image of the ebook. However, I've used this section before, and what I don't like about it is that it stretches quite wide. I like to contain the content in the center. So instead of using that, we'll go back to the insert menu and we'll choose the feature grid over here. Even though it's a feature grid, what's really cool about this one is that as you add it, just simply drag and drop and add it into the canvas, the desktop size. And what we can do is just delete the top layout and you're left with this layout, which is great. You've got text on the left with a call to action with an image for the ebook on the right-hand side. And as you can see, out of the box, it's all optimized across all the devices. If you notice the desktop size, if I select this block over here, you can see that the layout is set to a horizontal direction over here, and the mobile version is set to vertical, right? Which is really cool. And on top of this, as I mentioned, this layout doesn't stretch beyond that size that it's set to. If I actually select this block over here, in fact, I have to go to the layers panel and select the top layer over here, features, you can see that the max width is set to 1000 pixels wide, and that's as far as it'll go. So it's all contained in the center, which is cool for my landing page design, right? I'd like to have it in that center. Great, so we've got our top fold. Also very important, if you haven't already gone through the Framer onboarding already, it's really important to understand the parent size or primary size, which is this size over here. As you can see in the layers panel, it says primary. and the child sizes, or the other breakpoints that we created, which is the tablet and phone, are the child sizes, you can say. And there's a relationship on how properties works. For example, if I take the desktop size and I change the width of this title, it will carry over to the child sizes automatically. Same with this text over here. Any changes I make on the primary size will carry over. And that's really cool. However, what's important to remember is that if you make any changes on the child sizes, it won't carry over to the parent. So for example, if I take the tablet size and change the width of this title, and now change the width of the primary size, notice how this property is no longer connected to the width property of the desktop. It's detached essentially, and it has its own unique changes. So essentially, it gives you better control across your sizes, right? So if you want to make any exclusive changes to your tablet size, you can without worrying that it would change if you go and adjust the properties on the desktop. And notice how the mobile is still following through, but the tablet isn't because we adjusted that property. Same thing for the subtext. Notice how the subtext, if I change the property of this, it's still following through because we never changed the property on the tablet, right? So that's how the parent-child relationships work in terms of your different breakpoints, right? So that's the hierarchy. And so we'll go ahead and undo our changes and go back to our design, how it was, yeah. And let's go ahead and add our various other layouts. We'll go back to the insert menu, go to sections. I wanna add a cool feature grid. And that's what's really cool about this, right? It's just simple drag and drop to the desktop, right? So we've got all these feature grids over here. I'll use this 6 grid over here and drag and drop it to the bottom. Beautiful. Go back to the insert menu. Let's add some more sections. We want some social proof, perhaps. You've got these testimonial cards, which could be useful. Let's keep it simple with this more minimal testimonial review section. Great. Back to the insert menu. I got the contact card. We're going to be actually adding our lead capture ourselves, which I'll show you in a moment. We don't need pricing. We don't need FAQ. Logos could be useful for more social proof. We'll add that between the feature grid and the hero section. Great. So we got our logo section for more social proof. And finally, let's go ahead and end the landing page with a bang. We want a nice call to action at the bottom. So we'll go ahead to the sections at the top. I mean, we could use this call to action over here, but it's a bit too, it's not very, doesn't have much power in it. It's just a very short call to action. What I prefer to do is use the hero section. In fact, even though it's a header section, it's great for the final call to action. For example, this one here, great big image of the background, nice way to end the landing page, right? As you can see. And just like that, we have our entire landing page structure fleshed out. And now it's as simple as just customizing it, customizing the text, adding our images, and we're good to go. Now, before we do customize it, however, we have to add our lead capture form. And so we're going to do this by adding it right here in the call to action. We'll go back to the insert menu, and we'll do this by going to forms, and we'll select Framer's native input field. Now, you could also use FormSpark, HubSpot, Intercom. There's all these different form options, even MailChimp if you're using MailChimp. For this example, we're going to be using the standard input, which has various services connected to it. So I'll copy that, and I'll also copy this and scroll to the bottom and add it in this hero section over here. So I'll just select this layout and making sure that I selected the correct layers. As you can see, I've selected the header image, paste it in there, and boom, it's been added. And all I have to do is select this block over here and hit escape to delete it. And it's no longer there. Great, so structure is ready, time to customize the content. Now, to customize the content of any Framer website is really simple. All you have to do is select the layers and change the layer. For example, we've got this text selected in the layers panel, as you can see, and in the canvas, we'll change this to how to grow your organic traffic with programmatic SEO. To switch out the image, to select the image block and go to the inspector panel or the edit panel, scroll to the bottom, you can see under styles, we've got this fill property where you can choose and add any image. This is where we're going to be adding our ebook image, for example. For this font, we can go ahead and change the font, for example. We can go to the text style and switch to a different font. I like to use something like Clash, which is a really nice, cool font. Or, in fact, I'll use my brand font, which is Space Grotesque. Great, that looks cool. And yeah, you can change the size. We can make this a bit smaller because it looks a bit too large at the moment. 42 can be great. Yeah, that's looking good. And I'm not really particularly happy with, this text, for example, is going beyond the block, which is not ideal. So what I'd like to do is select the parent layer and we'll go to the top size properties and we'll switch the width to fill. This essentially tells the text to always fill the entire width. within this block. And as you can see now, it's filling the width, which is better, more optimized, right? Great, and let's customize this text. So we're going through all this super fast to just get the basics customized. So let's go. Now to customize your input form, all you have to do is select the input form. We'll go to the button property in the inspector panel, select that property, and we can change the label to what we want. I said to grab ebook. I'm going to delete this trusted by. I think just having the logos is more than enough. Great, so I've got my main features of my ebook, or the benefits of the ebook. I'm going to go ahead and delete these grid pieces, which I don't need. Also, I don't need this title for reviews. It's already self-evident that this is a review. If you notice, this last hero section over here doesn't look good on mobile, and so it's not very responsive. To fix this, number one, I'm not happy with this title going all the way throughout, like super wide. So what I'll do is break this title up into 2 lines, which looks better already. And the second thing I'd like to do is, of course, like make it more responsive, right? And what we want to do is take the layer, the header image layer. We'll actually rename this instead of header image. Let's call it CTA section. So our final CTA section. What we want to do is take that layer and stretch it vertically so that it's more optimized. We've got more padding on the top and right. Another way to do this as well is simply select the layer and set the height to fit. And what it will do is fit the contents with a bit of padding, and the padding is already set to 60 pixels. So there's going to be 60 pixels all around this block, which is also helpful, right? And gives you a lot of breathing space on mobile. So far, we've customized the text and switched out the fonts to how we want it. Now it's really time to bring this landing page to life by adding our images and splashing a little bit more color. Let's go. Now for this next part, I'd like to go ahead and create an ebook mockup for the top fold within this image block to showcase the ebook, right? And for those of you guys who already have experience with Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Figma, then of course those are great options to create such graphics. However, maybe you're an entrepreneur marketer who has more basic design skills, then I highly recommend our design tool called glorify.com. Glorify is a design tool that I founded. If you've been following my channel, you probably already know this. So let's jump into Glorify and mock up a ebook cover. So we'll head over to Glorify. This is the Glorify landing page, glorify.com. It allows you to create graphics at scale by using templates and AI tools and so much features that you can go ahead and explore. I'll go ahead and log into my account and we'll go into my personal brand workspace. And I'll go ahead and click the create design icon on the top. And under publishing, we have the ebook category. So I'll fire that up and we can see all of the templates available over here. So just like Framer, it's an infinite canvas and you can go ahead and add your designs to the canvas and start customizing right away. It starts with a blank canvas, but I want to maybe add like this one looks pretty simple. So let's go ahead and add that one. Great, I'll delete that canvas, zoom into this. Let's start customizing this. So to add any image inside of your canvas, simply drag and drop like you would. So I'll go ahead and drop this one. Boom, there's my image. I'll group these together by selecting them and holding Command G. Great, so that's my group and centered it up. Fantastic. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is switch up the colors. And the cool thing about Glorify is I've already saved my brand colors in my brand kit. So I've got my brand colors over here, so we can go ahead and let me just try and gradient. Let's see what this will look like. So I add orange, and then I've got my yellow. So I've got a very vibrant color palette for my personal brand. Stretch it out. Finally, let me also add a little bit of a circle underneath this. Again, I'm going to do a gradient. Send it to the back layer. Cool. Perfect. I'm happy with my ebook cover. I'm good to go. Now, of course, I just got my ebook cover, but I have to mock it up in a realistic mockup, and you can do this in Glorify. So what we're going to do is simply click the download button to export this canvas. We'll download it in JPEG. And there it is. Drag and drop it. Now, the cool part about Glorify is that if you go to our libraries panel and we scroll down, we've got the mockups library, and you've got all these mockups from 3D devices that you can customize in various angles. We've also got frames, bottles, billboards, anything you can think of. So we'll scroll all the way down to our print sections. We can use some of these book design. So we'll go ahead and add this 3D mock-up of a book. I think this will work quite nicely for our ebook. And we'll click on the edit panel, edit magazine cover, and we'll just add this inside this canvas. And as you're adding it, notice how it quickly renders the 3D object, right? So that's what's really cool about Glorify's mockups. Yeah, there we go. So I have to kind of hack it a little bit to show the actual details a bit. Happy with that. And next up, we'll go ahead and also customize the inner pages because it looks a bit blank. So what I'll do is take that and let's make it like black, for instance. Yeah, that looks way better, right? So there you go. There's my ebook mockup, all good to go. So next up, I'll just scale this up and we'll export it. We'll head over to download and let's export this in PNG so we get it to be transparent background, and yeah, that looks great. So we'll go ahead and download that. Now, of course, in this tutorial, we just showed you how to mock up an ebook on Glorify, but there's also tons of various features that you can explore, from AI tools to video, which is in beta, to all your various shapes, pen tools, text, buttons, image galleries, illustrations, icons, you name it. You've got it all built into one software. So do check it out. Now, from here, we'll go back to Framer and we'll go ahead and add our design. Now that we're back on the Framer site, let's go ahead and add our ebook image. So we'll select the image block, head to the inspector panel, click fill, and then choose image. We'll go ahead and add that new image. Great, so just like that, we've added our ebook cover. Now notice how it's being cut off, right? So one way to fix that is simply go to the fill properties, and instead of setting it to fill, we set the type to fit, and that will make sure the ebook is all visible. Now, if you're not happy with the size of the image, simply select the image, and we can quickly fix that by unlocking the width and height, and we'll increase the height so that it fills more room. There we go, that looks way better already. And across other screen sizes, it looks great as well, but mobile, not so much. So let's squeeze the size on mobile a little bit so that, we don't have all this unnecessary space. And we'll select this block on mobile. The gap between the text and the image is 80 pixels, which is too much. There's too much distance. So we'll reduce the gap, as you can see from the edit panel, all the way to 0, which is way better, right? Now let's go ahead and add images to these other blocks. Now, instead of going and designing a fresh image, this time I'm going to show you how to use Framer's inbuilt Unsplash library. We'll head to the fill property, select that, and within the fill option, we can go ahead under image, select Unsplash, and we can choose any image we want. So let's go ahead and search for something cool, like, let's see what comes up for SEO. We've got all these interesting images over here. This analytics image right there looks kind of cool. So let's go ahead and use this, or yeah, this mockup looks fantastic. And we'll do the same thing for the next image over. So perfect, we've now also added images directly in Framer using their Unsplash integration. Now, just like that, I'll go ahead and customize the rest of the images. All right, for this last section, I'll select the entire CTA block, and on the edit panel, we've got the fill. So let's go ahead and add our new image. This entrepreneur working in the dark sort of looks kind of cool, so I'm going to go with that one. Now we're almost done with the landing page. I'll quickly show you how to switch out the logos as well. If you want to do that, there's another way of doing it than the way I showed you. Of course, you can simply browse images in your desktop, but what I like to also do sometimes is just browse Google, for example, and copy an image directly from your browser, head back into Framer. One way to replace images is simply, once you copy the image, is select the image, head over the fill, open the fill property, and hit paste. And that will just automatically paste the image inside there. And then you can set it to fit or whatever you prefer to make it work, right? So let's go ahead and switch out these logos very quickly. So I've added all my logos in here. Of course, these are placeholders as an example. And what I'll do is increase the gap because it's a bit too tight for me. And yeah, there we go. So that's done. Final adjustment, I want to adjust the spacing as well. For example, the spacing between this section and this image grid over here is a bit too much. So what you can do is select this section, for example, and under the properties panel, we can go to padding and we can adjust the top padding to maybe 0 even. So there's no padding, so much tighter to this block over here. And the same for this logo section, it's way too much padding on the top fold. So we'll just reduce this to 0. and 0. So lots of white space that we don't need. And again, for the header as well. So let's make this about 20 pixels. Let's just tighten up the grid a bit. Great. Now for this grid over here, I'd like to reduce the distance over here as well, but notice how the padding is set to 100 all around. So we have to switch to individual side padding and adjust it accordingly. So we'll change this to around 40, like the top. Perfect. Now we've got much more better balance in the design. We'll do the same on tablet as well to get that similar balance. Great, so I've added my logos, I've adjusted the spacing between the entire landing page, but I feel like the top fold is missing a lot. It feels really empty. Yes, it could look a bit clean, but I feel like we need a bit more oomph there, some more visual power. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the hero block over here, the features large block in the layers panel. I'm gonna remove the fill and I'm gonna click fill and we'll go ahead and choose image. Let's go ahead and choose an image from Unsplash. All right, so this background is really cool. It kind of matches the theme of my ebook. However, I don't like that it's going across the text. So you can adjust the image by selecting the fill, and we can maybe set it to top left. Perhaps we can set it to stretch. Perfect, there you go. So with stretch, actually it works quite nicely because this abstract shape goes across, as you can see, without touching the text. All right, so I'm really happy with this image. It does really make our ebook pop, and it's got a bit of flashy colors in the background. It's really cool. And this is directly from Framer's direct integration with Unsplash. So there's plenty of options with the Unsplash integration for sure. Now, of course, we need to make this text pop out a little bit more. Of course, it's not functional, so we'll change the color to white. We'll keep the subtext the same. And I want this call to action to really pop because, of course, a high converting landing page, you need your CTA buttons to look nice and juicy. So we'll head over to, while selecting the lead capture form, we'll head over to the settings on the right, go to button, and we'll choose the fill color, use the color picker, maybe pick one of the colors in this vibrant streak of colors. This bright orange looks great, beautiful. And let's adjust the orange a little bit to be right at the top and super bright, fantastic. We'll go one step back and we'll make the text fully black. And we'll also take another step back, go to font and make the text bold. Nice, that really looks punchy. And if you take a zoom back, look at that, looks beautiful, right? The CTA really sticks out and that's what you want. The ebook is more compelling in this dark background. Now the text over here on the tablet size looks a bit broken. And I think it's because of a lack of fill, perhaps. Let's see what's going on. Well, this is already set to fill, so that's okay. I think what's missing is we need the stack to have no gap. It's got 80 gap right now. So let's reduce the gap so that, there you go, you can see the ebook scale up as we do that. Perhaps maybe even 20 pixels gap is more than enough. There we go. Fantastic. And for the mobile version, I'm not really happy with this form being a bit like sort of halfway through. So let's make it fill to the edge to edge. Looks way better that way. Nice. Great, and now since we added the background in the top fold, the hero section, this section with no padding doesn't look good. So I could add top and bottom padding, but I'll zero out and make it a single unit for all sides, and I'll make it 40 pixels all around. And that's carried over to the tablet, which looks great. So we've fleshed out our design. It's pretty much final. Now we need to, of course, make it a fully functional landing page. No doubt if you're delivering a free ebook, you need the lead capture form to work, and then you got to deliver that ebook. For sure, a typical free ebook landing page is a lead magnet for most cases, right? And it needs to work. So to make it functional, there's a couple of ways of doing it. Number one, you can of course explore all the various forms that are available depending on the service you prefer. We're using Framer's basic input field, and this has a few services connected to it. So if I select the input field, and I head to the right panel, you can see that there's a bunch of services over here. I prefer to use FormSpark because it's affordable and it's an easy way to capture your leads. It allows you to simply capture the leads if anyone submits it, and then you can export those leads as a CSV and publish them where you want, or you can use a Zapier integration to automatically push those leads into the platform you need. So if I go to FormSpark, I'll very quickly show you my account. Here's my FormSpark account. You can see in my workspace, I go to this workspace, for instance, I have one form called Build with All My Newsletter, and here's all my leads that I've been capturing through a form. And this is my form ID, which is the only thing you need to make it work. And of course you can go through, FormSpark's own tutorials to set this up, but the setting is really easy. You can, both connect your Zapier integration via using the Zapier key over here and just connect it that way. It's really simple. You can also connect it to Slack if you wish to collect your leads there. There's a few options for you, which is very simple as well to do. But I'm gonna go back to my ebook funnel page and we'll connect this form ID. Just paste it in the ID section. Once it's pasted, it's good to go. Anyone that submits this form on the landing page will capture the email inside your FormSpark account, and you can do whatever you wish with those leads. Now, of course, we've covered the lead capture part, which is the simple part, but how do you now deliver the ebook once they submit the form? There's two ways of doing this, right? Now, if you go to the input field, you can see we've got an option. Of course, you can switch this to overlay success. You don't want that. You want it to be open link on success. And of course, you can choose two options on the redirect. Either redirect them to your exclusive download link, could be a Dropbox link, a private Dropbox link where they can download your ebook. It could be a Gumroad product listing, Gumroad or even Lemon Squeezy product listing. These two platforms are great to distribute your digital products, both paid and free products. I, for example, use Lemon Squeezy to distribute my paid and free digital products. Both platforms are free to use and you can get set up right away. Just create the accounts and you can list your downloadable digital products. Now, another way to do it is, I'm not a huge fan of this way, but it's also important because maybe you guys want to do more deeper tracking for your website. The way you do this is add a dedicated download page for your ebook. So we'll go ahead to the left panel on the pages, we'll add a new page and we'll call this download, for instance, as an example. We'll just copy this header for this example. Let's add our breakpoints and tablet and phone. And in fact, this should have been 1004. We don't need the, So don't forget to do your sizes again. And then once you got all your sizes, we can paste. I just copied the hero section from the other page and we're just gonna paste it right there. And it's good to go, right? And of course you wanna remove this lead capture form in this instance. Now, what you want is to add your download button. And Framer has within the insert menu under utility, a dedicated download button, which you can drag and drop. And from here, okay, I can't see it properly. We'll just quickly change the style color to the orange that we were using, somewhere around there. And there's my download button. Very simple to set that up. And once you got that download element on the edit panel on the right-hand side, under the download properties, you can set up a upload and upload a specific file. So when anyone clicks this, they can download your ebook, or you can, again, same thing here, set a URL. And this again could go to your Lemon Squeezy, your Gumroad, your Dropbox, wherever you wish. So those are the two ways of making sure that people can access your ebook on submission. Now, other platforms other than FormSpark, for instance, allow you to set up an autoresponder. Of course, that's a whole other tutorial to set up, but if you're a marketer, you probably already know this. You can integrate MailChimp, you can integrate Zapier from FormSpark and then shoot an email automatically from your email platform once the lead comes in. So there's lots of ways to deliver an ebook via an email autoresponder as well. And perhaps we may do that in a separate tutorial one day. If you do want that tutorial, let me know and I'll try to create that for you guys. That's it, guys. That's how you set up your lead capture form so that it's functional. And once the first form is done, I'd like to copy this and just simply paste it below over here. Just select this whole block, paste it and delete the old one because this is all set up and good to go, right? Before we publish this, one last thing I like to do, this is the cherry on the cake for any landing page, and this is why Framer is powerful. I do love to use the animated effects, right? And just makes the landing page even better. So select, for example, the ebook over here. I'm going to go scroll down to effects and I'm going to select on appear something like, fade in is a bit boring. Let's do something more like slide in from bottom. And I'll tweak the effect to be a bit subtle. So like usually I like to adjust this effect myself. So let's go to full opacity and you can make it a tiny bit smaller. We can lift it a little bit so it's not all the way to the bottom. And this is the transition properties over here. We can actually adjust this to, you can see the preview of how rapid this thing is. And I want to just adjust this. I like to pull down the stiffness so it's nice and slow and smooth. And if I hit play over here, you'll see how this landing page looks. You can reload it, and that's your beautiful animation, right? And let's see how this looks on mobile. Look how responsive this is. It's great. You can just test this right in the preview section. Reload, beautiful animation for that ebook. Now, once you've got your first effect added to a layer, it's really easy to add it to other layers. For example, I'll copy this effect from here and I'll select my other layers. I'll group select them with Shift and I'll go to right click, paste effects, and that will add the effect. And the cool thing about this is that once the effect is done, we can also time it appropriately. So for example, maybe I want my ebook to come first, then the text. So the text, we can go to the effect, go to the enter properties, and then we'll go to the transition that we added, and we'll add a 0.1 delay. And we'll do the same for the ebook, a 0.2 delay, one higher, and we'll do the same for the lead capture font, 0.3 delay. Now let's test this out and see what it looks like. Wow, try that again. Isn't that beautiful, right? So you've got this nice little slick animation and all one after the other very quickly and very snappy. And you can apply the same principles across all of these different layers so that on load, I think where this is set to on appear, we set it to transition in this way. There's other rules as well, because sometimes on appear means as soon as the page loads up, which is not always the option you want. Now for the bottom layers, you don't want to set it at that. You want to copy the effect and, for example, let's paste it on this single image over here. You want to set it to layer in view, right? So as soon as the layer is in view, we are loading that animation, and perhaps you don't want it to replay. Replay simply makes the animation come back when you scroll up and down through the site. So we'll just switch it off, and we want it to trigger when the element meets the middle of the page, right? So let's take a look at that. Boom. Since I'm happy with this animation, I can go ahead and copy it and paste it on these layers too. Now all my animations are set up, I'm ready to publish this site. So what's really important before you do publish, make sure you play the desktop and check if everything is working as it should. For example, the responsive layouts, if there's any errors. Always check mobile as well, which is really important. Notice this text is being cropped. We don't want that. It's not set to the right property, so we gotta fix that. Everything else looks fine. We'll go out of here. Now the reason this text is not being responsive as we want, you can see that it's not set to fill. It's got a fixed width. And so if we start to scale this below this standard mobile size, you start to see that it gets cropped. And we don't want that. And we don't want to take those risks. So we want to go to this text layer on the parent and set the width to fill. Boom. And now once that's set to fill, that should be working now. So let's go ahead, squeeze it all the way to mobile. And as you can see, the text is also responsive and breaking into different lines. That's how we want it. Fantastic. So this whole page is fully functional now and it's good to go. So once it's good to go, we can go ahead and publish. Now, of course, I've published this with my own custom Framer domain. So you've got two options for domains. The free Framer domain, which you can customize the title of, which will, of course, have framer.website at the end of it. For example, this domain that I've secured is ebookfunnel.framer.website. And if you want to add your own custom domain, your own domain from your hosting service, there's plenty of tutorials on Framer's YouTube channel that walks you through how to set up your domain from whether it's from GoDaddy or Namecheap or any hosting service. So you can check those out. It's really simple. But if you do add your own custom domain, you do have to upgrade your site to a paid plan. Otherwise, it won't work. Also, once you've set up your domains, you've got Framer's analytics if you want to track, your visitors and things like that. But if you want something more robust, of course, perhaps you're using Google Analytics or Mixpanel, just go to your general settings, and underneath the custom code section, you can add within the head tag your Facebook Meta pixel to run your ads and do your ad tracking, or perhaps using Mixpanel or Hotjar to do some more analytics. You can paste the relevant code in the section and hit save. Or if you're using Google Analytics, simply paste your Google Analytics ID so you can start to monitor your traffic, right? So those are the areas that you should, of course, set up. And finally, make sure your site has a title and has a compelling description so that when your landing page gets shared out, it shows the relevant content. It's really important that you do that before you run your campaign, no doubt, right? So that's pretty much it. We've set up our entire landing page. It's good to go. We've published it with our own custom domain. All right, so let's go ahead and preview the final product. Click the domain and boom, there it is. Our final landing page, good to go. Animations there, beautiful mockup, lead capture form, fully functional and beautifully designed, right? And very simple as well, right? And simple but effective, no doubt. And that's what's amazing about this process. We simply use Framer's pre-made layouts, drag and drop them and arrange them in the way that we want, customize them to our needs. We've got a fully functional landing page for our ebook download that is 100% responsive across all devices. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm very confident that anyone with even the most basic technical skills can apply this process and knock out simple digital download funnels. But hey, that's just my opinion. For those non-designers, perhaps marketers, entrepreneurs, whoever you may be, I would love to hear your thoughts on this tutorial. Do you find it easy enough? Or do you feel like Framer scares you a little? Drop it in the comments below, or better yet, join my Discord channel, link in the description, and let's start a discussion. There's a bunch of like-minded people in there, and I drop a variety of resources from time to time. Other than that, if you did get value from this video, then I'd love your support. So smash that subscribe button and share this out with whoever might find this information useful. Also, check out these videos, I'm sure you'll dig them. Until next time, and make sure you never stop building.